NCLEX, you can't be lazy. Let me just tell you that first and foremost. You can't be lazy.
I did it. I did it.
I am literally pouring sweat, like, oh my gosh.
Yes, I took all of the questions. I took the entire exam, but it's okay. We just want to pass the test, okay? So I passed the exam in 150 questions. So in today's video, I am going to share with you guys the tools that I actually use to pass this exam. So if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome, join the family. And if you are a returning subscriber, if you're an OG, if you've been riding with me from I started YouTube, then of course, it's great to have you back with me. Before we actually start this video, we have to do some housekeeping. First of all, if you're watching my video and you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel down below, y'all have my book here. If you're watching my YouTube channel and you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button down below. Like, what you waiting on? What you waiting on? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on that notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you could know. That's disclaimer number one. Number two of our housekeeping / disclaimer / all of that. So these tools that I will talk about in this video is based on my experience. So what works for me may not work for you, and what worked for you may not work for me. So we're gonna agree to disagree, okay? And like I said, these are what worked for me. As you can see, I passed the exam, and so they work. So let's just agree to disagree. So I think that's all of the housekeeping that I want to talk about, or that I want to mention. You'll have my water. So let's start the video. As we know, the exam itself changed. And for persons who don't know what the NCLEX is, it is the National Council Licensure Examination. And usually persons who, well, nursing students would take this exam after they have completed nursing school. And this is, as you can see, this is a licensure examination. So this is an exam so that you can get your license to practice in the United States. As an international nurse or a Caribbean nurse, I too had to take this exam. Now, many of us know, well, most people know that the NCLEX changed this year. So before the change, the exam was 75 to 45 questions. So with the change, the exam is now 85 to 150 questions. Y'all, I got 150 questions. I took the entire exam. Y'all know I was so nervous. I was so scared. My heart was literally racing out my chest. But really and truly, it doesn't matter the amount of questions that you get, because you could get 85 questions and fail. You could get 85 questions and pass. You could get 150 questions and fail, and get 150 questions and pass. When I started studying for the NCLEX, really and truly, I was just all over the place. Like, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to use. I was just mixed up. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I was really mixed up. But at the end, as it got closer to my exam, like, I found a momentum. I found a groove. Like, I got into a groove. And so I think that helped me with really narrowing down my studies and focusing on my studies. And that helped me to pass this exam. So I have this bag. I have everything in here that I used, except for like Uworld and Artist Review, because they are computer based. My son, this book. But y'all, this folder, this the folder what got me through, okay? Like, I have all of my notes, my cue cards, everything in here that helped me to pass this exam. But we're going to get to this folder very shortly. And when I started out, I started using the Saunders book. This is the Saunders book. I did not like this book. This book was just too detailed. And again, this is my opinion. Some people swear by the Saunders book. They said that they read this book from the first page to the very back page. And for me, this did not work. Like, I just couldn't sit down and I just couldn't see myself like reading this entire book. Like, to me personally, I just needed something. I needed resources that is going to get straight to the point. This was just too much for me. And so I was so bothered by the fact that I spent like almost $50 or almost $60 for this book, and I didn't even use it. I did not use this book. This was just too detailed, and I was crunched for time. I did not use the Saunders book. You may end up liking the Saunders book, and if you do, then kudos to you. I'm gonna list off these resources, like the 4 main resources that really helped ensure that I passed this exam. First tool that I want to talk about is Mark, and these are in no particular order. Y'all, Mark is an OG. Like, the way he breaks down things, the way he makes you think, and the strategies that he give you, chef's kiss. I really would like to meet him and just give him a thank you in person, because honestly and truly, for the exam, you're not gonna know everything. And so what I like about him is the fact that he gives you strategies. He tells you exactly what you need to know for the exam. So if you don't know, he have 12 lectures. You could find them on YouTube. I noticed too, some of the audios are being taken down because of copyright issues. But you could also print out the book. I actually have the yellow book, and I printed it out and I put it inside this folder, in this folder thing. So this is the yellow book that I have for Mark. This is how the book looks. He talk about pH. He talk about chest tube. The NCLEX love chest tube. But as you answer, like once you practice questions more, you get to realize that the NCLEX likes certain things. Get this book, get the yellow book, listen to his audio. But one of my favorite lectures from Mark was actually lecture 12. So when I listened to Mark, I actually listened to Mark twice. I listened to him like right at the beginning of my studies, and then I listened to him again at the end of my studies. But your lecture 12, his prioritization and delegation video, this is a must-have. So what I did, I listened to his video, his audio, and as I listened, I wrote down. I also write. For me, I am a type of learner, like I don't only need to listen, but when I write down, it's like it sticks in my head. So as I listened to his audio on prioritization and delegation, I wrote down. Another tool that I used was Uworld. And Uworld could be very expensive. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't go with Uworld. So I Googled some of their prices. So the package that I got was the $399 package. I only had to pay $150 for the $399 package. So yeah, like you can't beat that. So that's the reason why I ended up using Uworld. But Uworld have different packages. They have package from $129. Their lowest per package is $129. So Uworld is expensive. Uworld is expensive. But these are all the packages that they have. I hope you guys can see. So they have package from $129, $159, $199, $279, $339, and then their most price package is a $399, which I had. After I was done using Uworld, the only thing that I could say is that Uworld is very humbling. Like, y'all, I did not get over a 60% on none of my assessments. So I got 2 assessments and I got their question bank. And on none of the assessments, I got over 60%. Yeah. That's very humbling. So Uworld is very challenging. Like, it makes you think, but Uworld also provides you with information. I can't just knock Uworld. So that's one of the reasons why I included Uworld as one of the tools that I would say help me to pass the exam. Like, I can't say Uworld is bad, because Uworld is really good. It's just that Uworld is very challenging. Like, it's gonna make you think. And I think for me, that's what I needed, because in the exam, like, you're not gonna know everything, but you just have to use your strategies, and you also have to think as a nurse. I would recommend Uworld. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Uworld a solid 8.5. Sometimes the way that they ask you questions is kind of like, what in the world are they asking you? But once you answer the questions and you read the rationales, oh my gosh. Once you do Uworld and you answer the questions, you read through your rationales, you write down your rationales, especially for questions that you did not understand. That's all you need. But what I would recommend, like in the beginning, I started to write the questions as well. That is something that you don't need to do. That could be very time consuming. So when I answered questions and I realized that, hey, I was kind of guessing on answering this question, and this is something that I really didn't know about. So I would then write down the concept of the question. Like I wouldn't write down the whole question, but I would write down the answers to that question, if you get what I'm saying. I wrote the entire question. I don't know if you guys can see that. I wrote the entire questions, and I wrote the answer to the questions or the rationales. And that is something that you don't need to know, that you don't need to do. So as time went on, I just wrote down like, I only wrote down like, these are still questions that I wrote down, like 24-hour urine. So the concept of the question, or like you will also have chest tube. I wrote down chest tube and I wrote down the answer to the questions. This is my last resource, and this is actually my favorite resource. So my last and favorite resource is Archer's Review. Oh my gosh, y'all. Archer's Review is, what is it? Chef's kiss. So first off, I like Archer's Review because it was inexpensive. It was a tool that I was able to afford. I didn't have to break the bank. I feel like anybody could get Archer's Review. The cheapest package is from $89, and at the time when I took NCLEX, that package was $79. Like, you cannot beat that. But the package that I decided to go with was there. At the time, it was like $105 or $104, but now it went up to like $109. But this package that I got, this is what it entails. You get 2,900 total questions with their rationales, and then they also give you 800 next generation NCLEX questions, which is good. You could also do like CAT exams, adaptive exams, which is similar to the NCLEX. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to give Archers a 9 out of 10. Okay, like that's just my opinion. I love Archers. Morgan from Archer's Review. Morgan, you're amazing. I hope that you come across this video, and if you don't, it's fine. But if anyone know Morgan and if she sees this video, send this to her, okay? Because she is amazing. Just the way that she breaks down things, her voice, I could listen to her speak all day, every day. Like, her voice was just so soothing. She was just so it's like she was my affirmation, like I'm gonna do well. She gave motivational little quotes and just remind you that, hey, you could actually do this. Another reason why I like Archer's Review is the fact that you're not only answering questions, but with the questions you have video to go along with it. And so, well, not to go along with it, but you have videos that help you with your learning. I am also a visual learner. Like, I have to listen, watch, and write. Okay, so all of that just helped me with my learning process. And with Archer's Review, you have those videos. Like, if there's a certain area that you struggle with, it could be cardiovascular, it could be respiratory. For me, it was maternity. That maternity video was just spot on. When I listened to Morgan from Archers, I made notes. And that is something, that's a tip that I would give. As you listen, don't only just listen to videos. Don't only listen to Mark K or whatever videos that you listen. Don't just listen to podcasts. Don't just listen to NCLEX IEL videos. When you listen to videos, take notes. I know sometimes it could be very tedious, But when you take notes, I feel like you remember more. Well, for me, I remember more, and it makes learning more effective. So whenever I listen to Archer's review, I made notes. And as you can see, this on the top of this paper, this folder sheet, I have maternity. So for each area, cardiovascular, respiratory, peds, I made notes, and I made a heading, big and bold, maternity. So as I listen, I made my notes, okay? And maternity is my least favorite area. Like, I don't really like maternity. So I made my notes. As Morgan spoke, I paused the video and I wrote and I wrote. With Archer, they also give you notes. I mean, like you can't beat that. They give you questions, they give you notes, and you could watch videos for that price. You can't beat that, sweet pie. But I want to make mention of this folder. Y'all, this folder, I have everything in here. I have every single thing in here that I like narrowed down my studies to. So I'm going to show you step by step what I did. So when you're preparing for the NCLEX, you can't be lazy. Let me just tell you that first and foremost. You can't be lazy, especially if you want to pass this test on your first try. Don't be lazy. Okay. So what I did, like I said, I narrowed down my study and I put everything in this folder. So in this folder, I have my cue cards. One day I was just so fed up. I was like, you know what? I am not retaining the information. So I went to the bookstore and I got some flashcards. These are the leftover flashcards that I got. And I made cue cards. This here is basically my self-assessment test from Uworld. Okay, so this is my self-assessment test. I can't show you exactly everything because of confidentiality, but this is actually my self-assessment test. I copied and pasted the answer to the question on here. Once I read everything, I read over this like 3 or 4 times. I cut out portions of different diseases. Each disease I cut out and then I placed them on a cue card like so. Let me just show you. So as you can see, this here is pancreatitis. So this is a portion from my self-assessment. I can't remember if it was self-assessment 1 or self-assessment 2. So what I did, I just cut out, I label it of course, pancreatitis. I cut out the definitions and basically all the other information that I will need to know. Bear in mind, yes, it's time consuming and it's tedious and everything, but I promise you it works. Because throughout the day, what I would do, if I don't feel like reading a textbook or listening to anything, what I would do, simply just get my cue cards. And it's very easy to carry around. You could go into Starbucks, you could sit on the beach, you could go wherever you want to without carrying like your laptop or a textbook, and you could just simply read through these cue cards. So that's what I did, and even though it's tedious, it's time consuming, it works. Okay, for me it works. Another thing that I have inside of this folder, I have like pharmacology. So I have like different medications, different classes of medications, especially medications that the NCLEX like. So I have my anti-anxieties, antidepressants, I have my antipsychotics. Reason why I like to section off my work, like pharmacology, then I have maternity, then I have cardiovascular with congestive heart failure. Again, it's time consuming, but I love to be able to just pick up my notes and carry them when I need to. So now that we spoke about the different tools and what worked for me, I would like to leave you guys with these tips. And these tips, I gathered them based on my studying and what I realized throughout this whole process. First of all, first and foremost, find what works for you. Listen, there are so many resources out there. I just honestly feel like people using the NCLEX as an avenue to make money. So find what works for you. what may work for your friend over here may not work for you over here. So when you find what works for you, it makes such a huge difference. It makes the studying process a bit easier, because this process it's a journey. My other tip that I would like to leave is to find a studying routine. Find a schedule, create a schedule. Because as you know, we all have other obligations. Like for me personally, I still have to work, I still have a family, I still have a kid. So creating a study routine is going to help you to be consistent, and it's going to keep you grounded, because once you have a routine or a schedule, then you know, like, hey, on this day I should be studying respiratory, or I should be looking at maternity, or I should be listening to Mark lecture number 2 or lecture number 11. So create a study routine, find a study schedule, because it's also a game changer. Another tip that I would like to leave is to be consistent with your studies. You can't, one thing I realized, the more consistent you are with your studies, the more questions you practice, the more you practice questions, you kind of get into a zone. You also realize that the NCLEX likes certain diseases or certain conditions. Like for me, I realized they love blood transfusion, because remember, this is an exam of safety. So they love blood transfusions, they love chest tubes, they love EKG strips. So when you practice questions, you begin to realize some questions or some diseases are more frequent than others. Some days you're not going to feel like studying. I'm going to be real. Some days you're not going to feel like studying. Some days you don't feel like practicing questions. Some days you don't feel like listening. And that's okay. But don't go on those long breaks. Like you study this week, you study Monday, you study today, and then you don't want to study until the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks. No, that is like a big gap in your studies. For me personally, I can't do that, because I feel as though I will have to be starting all over, and all the information that I would have retained would have already gone out of my head. So even though consistency is important and taking break is important, you don't want to take no long overextended breaks, especially if your exams is coming up. The more questions you practice, you become better at answering the questions. You become better at understanding how the NCLEX want you to think. Okay, so I would say practice the minimum amount of questions. I know the NCLEX have changed, and the minimum amount of questions is 85 questions. So don't practice no less than 85 questions. And I would say on some days, practice 150 questions. Because again, that builds momentum. For the exam, you have about 5 hours, okay? So in that 5 hours, you could have 85 questions, or you could have 150 questions. But because you've been practicing, you would have already trained yourself to answer the minimum and the maximum amount of questions. In all your preparation, remember to keep God first. And also, know that you have what it takes to pass this exam. Remember, if you are a seasoned nurse, even if you are a new grad, this exam is an exam of safety. So they want to make sure that, hey, this is a safe nurse who is practicing. This is a safe nurse who is taking this exam. So yes, you have what it takes to pass the NCLEX. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. I am almost to 1K subscribers. I am almost to 1K subscribers. I am so happy, but I cannot reach 1K subscribers without you guys. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all know the drill. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bell. Show me some love in the comments. That's the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.